the package from the stars. Jake Thompson stood on the porch of his Nebraska farmhouse, squinting at the delivery shuttle descending from the cloudy afternoon sky. The craft was smaller than he'd expected. He rubbed his calloused hands on his jeans, suddenly aware of how ridiculous this whole situation was. 6 months ago, drunk on cheap whiskey and loneliness, he'd filled out the Interstellar Companion Registry form as a joke. The galaxy had opened up 5 years prior, and with it came opportunities his grandfather never could have imagined. But Jake, he'd stayed right here on the family farm, watching the corn grow while the rest of humanity reached for the stars. The shuttle touched down with barely a whisper, crushing a circle of grass near his barn. Jake's dog, Rex, barked once, then retreated to the porch, whimpering. Smart animal. The hatch hissed open, releasing a cloud of vapor that smelled like ozone and cinnamon. Jake held his breath, half expecting some 6-armed, tentacled creature to emerge. The agency had been vague about species compatibility, mentioning only that all registered companions were humanoid adjacent and cleared for Earth's atmosphere. What stepped out made his jaw drop. She was small, barely 5 feet tall, with skin that shifted between pale blue and silver, depending on how the light hit it. Her hair, if it could be called that, floated around her head in delicate, luminescent tendrils that pulsed with soft purple light. She wore a simple white dress that seemed to be woven from starlight itself, and her eyes were enormous, the color of deep space, flecked with what looked like actual stars. She couldn't have been more than 18, maybe 19 in human years. Jake felt his stomach drop. "Oh, hell no," he muttered, taking a step back. "There's been a mistake. The girl, because that's what she was, just a girl, tilted her head, those cosmic eyes studying him with an intelligence that made him uncomfortable. When she spoke, her voice came out in melodic tones that his brain somehow translated into English. "You are Jake Thompson, Farm Sector 7 Delta 9. Listen, kid, I don't know what they told you, but I am Zara of the Luminari." She descended the ramp with surprising grace, her bare feet barely touching the ground. "I have traveled 47 light years to fulfill the companion contract. You submitted genetic compatibility markers, psychological profiles, and a formal request for—" "That was a mistake," Jake interrupted, running a hand through his graying hair. "I was drunk. I'm 43 years old. You're, what, barely legal by any species standards." Zara's expression didn't change, but her hair tendrils dimmed slightly. "I am 26 standard cycles. In your years, approximately 104. Jake blinked. "You're 104. My species ages differently. I am considered young, yes, but of full maturity and legal standing." She moved closer, and Jake caught a scent like summer rain and distant nebula. "Your profile indicated loneliness, a desire for companionship, and specific compatibility with patient, intellectually curious beings. I matched at 97%, the highest in my entire registry cohort." "Zara, look." Jake gestured helplessly at his farmhouse, the dusty fields beyond, the ordinary earthbound life he led. "What could you possibly want here? You crossed half the galaxy for this." For the first time, something flickered in those stellar eyes, something vulnerable. "My planet is dying, Jake Thompson. Not today, not tomorrow, but inevitably. The Luminari are beautiful, but we are few. We lack the robust genetics, the sheer, stubborn vitality that humans possess. We have watched you for decades, seen how you survive, adapt, and thrive in impossible conditions. She reached out, her three-fingered hand hovering near his arm, but not quite touching. The registry is not slavery or commerce. It is ... hope, a chance for compatible beings across the cosmos to create something new, to survive together. Jake stared at this impossible creature standing in his yard, surrounded by corn and Kansas dust, talking about survival and hope with the kind of desperate sincerity he recognized from his own mirror. You really traveled all this way just to, what? Live on a farm in Nebraska. Zara's hair brightened, pulsing with excitement. I researched Earth extensively. Your planet has such diversity, 400,000 species of beetles alone. And your agriculture, the way you coax life from soil, season after season. On my world, we manipulate light and energy, but we have forgotten how to grow things, how to be patient with the slow work of living. Despite himself, Jake smiled. You want to learn farming. I want to learn everything. Her enthusiasm was infectious, childlike in its purity despite her century of life. Your music, your food, your inexplicable attachment to animals that serve no logical purpose. She glanced at Rex, who had cautiously approached to sniff her. Like this creature, it cannot speak, cannot reason complexly, yet you keep it. That's Rex. He's a good dog. A good dog, Zara repeated, testing the words. She knelt down, and Rex immediately licked her face, his tail wagging furiously. She laughed a sound like wind chimes and scratched behind his ears with startling intuition. Jake watched this alien girl, this century-old being, giggling as his dog enthusiastically welcomed her. And something tight in his chest loosened. Maybe he'd been alone too long. Maybe the universe had a sense of humor. Maybe, just maybe, this was exactly as crazy as it needed to be. All right, he said, finally. But we're doing this properly. Separate bedrooms, no expectations, just figuring it out. And you're going to learn to drive the tractor. Zara stood, her entire being seeming to glow with joy. I accept these terms. When do we begin the tractor education? Jake couldn't help but freely laugh for the first time in years. Tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. Hope you're ready for the glamorous life of farming. I have crossed the void between stars, Jake Thompson. I believe I can handle your Earthrich culture. As the sun set over the cornfields, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple that almost matched Zara's luminescent hair, Jake Thompson realized that maybe the universe hadn't made a mistake after all. Maybe it had simply delivered exactly what he needed, just not in any package he could have imagined. Rex barked happily, and Zara laughed again, and for the first time in a very long time, the farmhouse didn't feel quite so empty.